In the first part of this lecture, we talked about how different people, geographers, poets, engineers or artists, for example, might be inspired by landscape in different ways. In these final few slides, I want to encourage you to start thinking about some examples of what those different ways might be. For example, when you look at this picture, what does it inspire in you and what might it inspire in other people? Does it make you want to visit the location or to find out about the geology or to solve the problem of building roads here, or maybe to climb the mountains or to paint the view? Any location can inspire different feelings or mean different things to different people. To a geomorphologist, for example, this is an Inselberg, an interesting landform, and I might be inspired to try and find out how it acquired this particular morphology. To other people, it's a tourist destination. This picture might inspire us to travel. To the indigenous population, it's home and it's sacred ground. We can experience and report the landscape in different ways. It can be seen or touched or heard, experienced either directly or remotely. It could be written or sung about or painted. We could photograph it or film it. Different people can respond to the same landscape in different ways. Some people are inspired by landscapes to ask questions like why and how. Andrew Gowdy has written about the way that many geomorphologists become scientists because they are inspired by appealing landscapes. I certainly was encouraged into geography and into glaciology by an enjoyment of being in the hills or in the wilderness, up mountains or beside ice sheets. Landscapes can inspire scientific curiosity and motivate geographical or geological research. Other people are inspired in different ways. Later in the course we will say a lot about how musical composers have responded to landscape. For example, Edward Elgar is often described as being deeply inspired by the landscape of his local area around the Malvern Hills, and many commentators have identified patterns from the landscape in his music. For example, if you listen to the start of the first movement of his cello concerto, the description on this slide seems quite appropriate. There are many different types of artists who've been inspired by landscape in many different media. We've not yet had any quilt art presented as part of a GEG 30014 project, but perhaps this will be the year, picking up the ideas in these two geological quilt designs from an exhibition that was called Inspired by Landscape. We have previously had projects based on literary landscapes, on the work of authors such as Thomas Hardy, who were explicitly inspired by the landscapes of particular areas in their writing. The connection between the landscape and the author's work has become so well known that the area that Hardy wrote about is now commonly referred to as Thomas Hardy country, and other authors and poets such as William Wordsworth are closely identified with their own local areas. One of our recurring themes in this module will be the art of the American West, including paintings, music and cinema. These two quotations on this slide make clear the direct connection between the nature of the landscape and the style of the works that are inspired by it. These close connections between the geographical environment, art, science, geography and cultural representations of geography are at the heart of this module. This quotation from Austin Miller's The Skin of the Earth draws together some of what we've said in this first session and pulls it back to the core of geography. This is from a geography textbook of 50 years ago, but it applies very well to what you should be doing now as we move forward into the rest of this module. Explore landscape and try to identify the elements, cultural and physical, interwoven within it, and start to recognise how different types of landscape have inspired different people in different ways.